Trae Holiday. What's happening?
Hey, it's been so long since we've been on screen together, man. I miss you.
Yeah, we got a special kind of magic, me and you, Trae Holiday.
Come on, man. Absolutely. Everybody out there knows it too, man. I'm so glad that you made time in your busy schedule to be right here with me on my set.
Always got time for you, Bayana. Go up in the Bayana sphere.
Oh my goodness. Well, we have been doing a lot of great work at Converge, and I just wanted to take this day, after Labor Day, because it's so much labor and the labor of love that goes into all the things we do here. But we've been carrying some messages about some funding that's coming up. We had some really great guests on last week. I don't know if you want to set it up, because OED was in the building, Washington Commerce was in the building.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, if you go to our Twitter right now, we've got some highlights from the interviews he did with the Office of Economic Development last week, and the tenant improvement grant is actually closing on the 8th, on Thursday, and that's up to $100,000 for tenant improvement, for build out, for renovation, for new and existing businesses. Application is pretty straightforward. Actually, we got the OED clip right here. We're kind of explaining it.
It is a tenant improvement fund, right? And so there's hard costs that it will fund in things like HVAC systems or plumbing, electrical work. We're also going to be able to support soft costs, and that includes permitting, supporting consultant fees like architect fees, permitting fees. And, this is not just for new build outs, right? This is also for existing spaces. So it'll also support renovations of existing spaces.
Yeah, what a great fund indeed. And, we talk about this often in the community. I love that it's covering so many different kind of costs. But, we know our commercial businesses have been hit hard, man, in terms of occupying spaces like that. So this is a great way to fill that void.
Yeah. And you can go to the Office of Economic Development in the city of Seattle, and you'll find the link right there to the application. It's pretty straightforward. They really lower the barrier of entry on this application. They really want to get people in there. The demand is out there. And actually, people are hitting me for recommendations and everything. So I know that our messaging is really working, and businesses in our community and other communities are aware, but we want to make sure that this application deadline finishes strong. Yeah. And so encourage people to go to Office of Economic Development to their website and apply.
Yeah. I love that they've made it easy. But it sounds like, too, there's some additional funding that's coming out from the Washington State Department of Commerce. They've partnered with Arts-Wa to really make sure that a different pot of funding is hitting our community, right?
Right. And this one here, this closes on the 9th. So this closes on Friday. And this is funding up to $75,000 for small businesses and nonprofit organizations, of course, that were impacted. Really a focus on the creative economy, the creative sector, and people. What do we say? Do you say people of color?
Global majority.
Okay. Well, there it is right here. Here's Shannon from, Department of Commerce.
Currently have a grant application open right now. It's a very simple grant application that closes next week on September 9th at 5 p.m. And basically, we're encouraging all small businesses in Washington State to apply. So small businesses, a pretty wide range there. It's folks who make at least $10,000 on an annual basis, and no more than $5 million on an annual basis, and folks who have suffered from the pandemic. And when we're talking about small businesses, we're talking about businesses and nonprofits and sole proprietors as well, including artists who run their practice as a business. And so it's really broad, and we're here to help small businesses in Washington State really recover from the pandemic. One of the things that's very special about this program, and is different than any of the other Working Washington programs, is that 60% of the $70 million that is set aside for Working Washington Round 5 is allocated to the cultural sector. So arts, science, and heritage, nonprofit organizations, businesses, sole proprietors, that money is set aside for you. For a lot of creative workers and creative businesses in Washington State, the pandemic had an immediate impact for them. And, they were the first to close, the last to reopen, and the pandemic is going to have a very long tail to recovery for a lot of these businesses. So right now is the time to access those funds. We've created a very simple application, and we really hope to help stand up these creative workers and businesses around our state.
Yeah, this is important right here. I mean, some of the points that Shannon was making, I think, are so hard hit and felt by our communities. When we talk about arts organizations and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that are doing art as their business, we know how hard they've been impacted by COVID. So, these funds really being specific to direct a large portion of this pot of money to those businesses is key.
Yeah, and especially like the creative economy. The creative economy in Washington State, according to Michael, who was here last week, is we have one of the largest creative economies in America here in Washington State. And so it's important that, on the local level, all the way up to the legislative level, that the powers that be are making funds available to be able to brace and support the creative economy here. And that grant right there, that grant opportunity closes on Friday. You can go to Artois website and State Department of Commerce, and we'll follow back up after, and we'll put the links in there as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that, we continue messaging here to make sure folks are engaged and informed about a lot of these amazing funds that are out there. Please be sure that you guys are sharing these resources with folks that could benefit from them, or you yourself. The barriers to entry are low. They've been removed. All of the craziness with application fatigue. They're just trying to make these funds available to community. So make sure you guys are applying for them. Now, after this short break, me and Omari get to dive into some of the amazing spaces that Converge has been in community, and also the great works that we've been able to capture as we uplift stories from our community. Stay tuned, you guys. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Baseball is a beautiful game, especially when played in community. Earlier this summer, Baseball Beyond Borders took a powerful, eye-opening journey through the heart of the South, which included baseball, civil rights, and reconciliation. Our Young Kings hosted a baseball clinic at Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi, and hit the road to Montgomery, Alabama by way of the historic Edmund Pettus Bridge to visit the Equal Justice Initiative Museum and Memorial, all in an effort to ground our Kings in their history and find serenity in the sport they love to preserve the cultural legacy. Join Baseball Beyond Borders on September 27th for the premiere of our film, Reconciliation Tour, at T-Mobile Park's Ellis Pavilion from 3 to 5 p.m. Hear from those on the front line as well as special guests as we elevate our promise to bring healing through play. For tickets or to donate, visit baseballbeyond.org or check our social media platforms.
Hey there, it's Trae Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
The truth with proof, the truth with proof. If you nice with the sports, then he swooping through. He gon' highlight you. Ain't nobody live like us, fly like us. We gon' find you, put the city behind you. Let us know you got skills, we gon' be at a game. In the Northwest, we reppin' the city where it rain.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. And you guys saw it right there at the top of the break. Some of the work that we've been doing. I'm just glad that I get to actually talk to Omari about Baseball Beyond Borders, man. Tell me more about all of this amazing work they're doing.
Yeah, well, Baseball Beyond Borders and Converge Media have been partners, for years. Actually, if you talk to Buki Gates, Buki will tell you that I met with him like 5-6 years ago at Joey at South Center, and they were talking about what they were doing. And, at the time I was like, bro, we could just use an iPhone and we could just, the story is the story. The camera's not the story. The story is the story, right? And so for years we've been, kind of doing what we could to be able to uplift the work of Baseball Beyond Borders. This summer, we were fortunate enough to actually shoot a film, reconciliation tour. We followed the Young Kings, went from Seattle down to Jackson, Mississippi, to the heart of the South, to Jackson, Mississippi. Um, and they actually hosted a baseball camp there for young kids in Jackson. And, baseball is an expensive sport. And, black kids really get priced out of baseball, and you get less and less black kids playing baseball. And they're partnered with the Perkins Foundation and had a camp there at Jackson State University for young kids. It was pretty amazing. They played a local team there from the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? They won, which was also great as well. Then after that, got on the road, headed over to Montgomery, Alabama, but stopped in Selma first. It's the historic Edmund Pettus Bridge, the site of Bloody Sunday. I mean, lots of Bloody Sundays actually, but Bloody Sunday, a lot of people know about. And then up to Montgomery for the EJI Museum and Memorial, the Equal Justice Initiative Museum and Memorial. The point being that these young men, I think ages 16 to 18, were able to really see something different and really, historically be able to look back on their history and culture, but also, have some play some baseball, have some fun. We shot a film, reconciliation tour. And, I shared this morning on my LinkedIn page and on my Facebook page that, not too many years ago, I was over there at T-Mobile Park. I was selling beer, selling peanuts, trying to get money together for this Converge. It was me and Eric Calligraphy, man. It was just big dreamers. We had no camera, we had no desk, we had no nothing. We were like, yo, man, this can happen. And I'd be over there at T-Mobile Park, man. You know what I'm saying? And, September 27th, Reconciliation Tour is going to premiere in T-Mobile Park in the Ellis Pavilion. And so, I would tell people, it's like, no matter where you at in your dream, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to stay after it. Stay focused. Like, we've never wavered from this vision of where we're at right now. And actually, the vision is even much bigger than the space that we're in. But, to be able to look back in retrospect and be like, man, we finna premiere this film in T-Mobile Park, the same park where, I was there, man, hustling. I knew how to pour that beer all the way to the top, man, so you didn't have that many suns in there. You feel me? That's how you get your tips. And a big reminder, people at the ballpark or anywhere else around here, make sure you tip your servers. It might be an up-and-coming, aspiring filmmaker like myself. Every little tip, counts.
Yeah, no, it's such a great story, honestly, all around. This kind of like 360, right? To start there, humbly, and to be able to do real partnership level work with T-Mobile Park. I mean, this is one of those stories that's come out of it. There's been photographers coming through Converge, making their dreams come true there. It's just a beautiful thing because honestly, to know that Baseball Beyond Borders has been so dedicated to providing this level of experience for all of the players that come through their doors, and to partner with Converge to really showcase that is important. I'm always sharing with people that that's one of the things I love so much about, being here at Converge is, we're not just telling stories of community, we're part of community. You and Buki have this relationship that's allowed for him to know that you're going to wield this story properly and correctly and really shine a light on what they're doing. And so kudos to all of the young guys out there for Baseball Beyond Borders, the entire team that helps to put that together. What a phenomenal way for them to experience, baseball in different areas and also to bring home that win.
Right. And I would just say this, that's part and parcel of what Baseball Beyond Borders is all about. Yes, there is the actual baseball, which is important, but even more important is creating opportunity and developing life skills for young boys and girls, and they've continued to do that. Also, I was saying Reconciliation Tour, man, it was pretty cool because we were able to really bring everybody. So it was me, Brady, Ike, Shaylon, and even intern Vaughn. You know what I'm saying? We were all on the road down there in Alabama and Mississippi and some everything else. So real excited about that. People who might want to be part of this special occasion, they can go to baseballbeyond.org and register. Registration is free. And like I said, that's September 27th at 3 p.m., T-Mobile Park, Alice Pavilion.
Amazing. Well, there's so many things that Converge has been doing on the ground. And just this weekend, you guys heard us talking about Pure Sounds. We were out there full throttle with our team. It was phenomenal. But before we go to any clips we have to share with y'all, I just got to say, me and Omari shared a moment there where we were just blown away by Shayna Shepherd, man.
Let me tell you. So Pure Sounds, first of all, it was dope. This is the best Pure Sounds I've been to. And Shayna was the last act of the day, right? And Shayna's doing her set, and we just jamming or whatever. And then I hear, we hear the beginnings of Hope. And for guys who might remember, it hasn't been that long ago, but, we ended the morning update show with Hope by Shayna Shepherd, which Shayna recorded right in here. Shayna was the first musician to ever record in this studio. And I start hearing Hope, and I'm like, yo, I know that song. And I'm like, that's Hope, and run to the stage like like a little kid. And then I look around, and then I see you over there too. And then I see T-Dub, and then there's Besa. I mean, it was a special moment. And Shayna actually dedicated the song right there at the concert at Converge Media.
Yeah, absolutely. Shayna did, and gave you a huge shout out as well. And, Shayna and I were able to share such a special moment backstage before she went on. And I said, wow, Shayna, I'm about to watch you perform live. And she goes, oh my God, as soon as I realized that you were emceeing this, I was thinking the same thing, because we have always shared such a special kind of kindred relationship. Every time Shayna would come to Converge, and it would be like both of us were like patting our eyes, we'd be in tears, connecting on such a genuine level. And so I'm so glad, Omari, that we were able to get this clip. I'll let you make sure you set it up properly.
All right. This is Shayna Shepherd live at Pier 62, Pure Sounds with Hope.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I feel after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the saddle. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the reservoir. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make it through. Lazy shoes and love is a love that's earned. That's the kind of needle that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I promise you, it was a full on Converge moment because I looked over. I mean, me and Omari were like, oh my gosh, she's performing this amazing song. Deontay came over to me. We're both like, oh my gosh, I'm in tears. I mean, I saw Besa, T-Dub. It was really a full on Converge moment. And shout out to all of the acts that were out there, Breaks and Swells, Night Train, thank you, because it was NTN, Night Train, and also Fly Moon Royalty. They did their last show in front of that audience, man.
Well, when Night Train did their interview with G Prez Aspie, they also said that was going to be their last show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, folks got all of these guys' talent. They did not hold back. They poured it all out there on that stage. And it was something that was so great to witness. And I will say, my mom was in the building with me, and mom was like, oh my gosh, is this the Seattle talent I'm missing on out here? And I was like, yes, like all of these people are local. They've been doing it for a long time, but they're just so talented.
Yeah, and big shout out to Friends of Waterfront Seattle. I mean, they just keep getting better and better at what they're doing down there, and they're really exceeding in making that waterfront feel welcoming to everybody. And I think that's what we see when businesses and organizations move with a sense of intentionality. And Friends of Waterfront Seattle has been very intentional. Some things work, some things don't work. They find out what works, what did work, and they keep refining, and it just keeps getting better. And I'm glad their logo is right there on the wall behind you. You know what I'm saying? They're definitely proud to be partners with Friends of Waterfront Seattle.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, and I enjoyed myself so much. Shout out to Friends of Waterfront for, being intentional to be partners with us here at Converge, because we were all out there in the building. The food was great, drinks were great, communion was out there. I love the whole vibe, and I'm so glad that I got to hear from my mom's perspective, who never has come to Pier 62 and saw all of this work. She's like, oh, I need to be telling my friends about this. I was like, absolutely, make sure your people know. Well, Omari, we still got lots of great work that we need to share, man. What else we've been up to here at Converge?
Yeah, well, this next thing that I wanted to talk about, we shot 2 films this summer. The other is Finding Go, the legacy of Ade Hogue. And I tell people, like, this film is a labor of love. I mean, everything we do, what we say at Converge, how we do anything is how we do everything. It's either 0 or 100. So it's all of them are a labor of love, but this one was really, really special for all the different intersections and really how they converge in this story. Is that, people who've been following us for a while, they know that story that we did on our commitment, the Alaska Airlines, the aircraft, how we went out there and we saw this black plane with black faces painted on it. And what started out as a news story ended up being like a 7-minute segment for a Feel Good Friday. Remember we did that? And it also kind of opened a relationship with Alaska Airlines. But that plane, especially the name, Our Commitment, because what's the number one thing I tell people? Like, if you're going to be at Converge, you got to be committed. Right. It's commitment. Well, unfortunately, Ade, who did the lettering on the side of the plane, there's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. and from Nelson Mandela. Unfortunately, Ade was killed in a bicycle accident in Chicago last year. Gone far too soon. This young man was brilliant, just brilliant. And we got on. I was on LinkedIn. I posted. It was 1 year before we put up the commitment, and I put it up on LinkedIn. And Ade's mom hit me on LinkedIn, and she was just like, "Man, thank you for continuing to talk about this and uplift her son's name." And I was like, "Well, man, anything that we can do." I met Ade for 10 minutes during an interview. Said anything that we could do, we're with it. And she talked about how there was a scholarship fund at UNC Charlotte. That's where Ade went to college, originally from Asheville, North Carolina. And I thought about it, and this is just, guess it's just who we are. And I thought about it, and I thought that if that was me and it was my mama talking to like some media company that been supportive, it was like, as usual, what we do. How can we give our very best? And as usual, we ain't never got no money for nothing. But you know what I'm saying? We don't. Can you bring that down? Thank you. We don't ever have no money for nothing. And but it didn't stop it. I said, well, you know what? If how about we make a film? Because I said, if y'all got a scholarship fund, y'all need a tool to be able to make people aware of Ade and his life and legacy and everything else. And so, of course, they thought that was a good idea. And I was like, "Oh man, what have I got myself into? We got to go down to North Carolina. We got to go down to Chicago, and so everything else." And so I reached out to Alaska Airlines, and I was like, "Yo, if you can fly us around," I said, "then we'll volunteer. We'll make this film." And Alaska Airlines agreed. And man, me and Brady, we went down to North Carolina. And when I talk about shoestring budget, Brady will tell you, we was almost split the Big Mac down there. You know what I'm saying? We was on fumes when we were shooting this film, like fumes, and it was crazy. We was down there in Asheville. We were down there in Charlotte. And we had already spent early part of the summer shooting Reconciliation Tour, which again, we volunteered our time and efforts on the Reconciliation Tour. And we're driving to the airport in Raleigh, heading back, and I was so discouraged. I was like, man, what have I done? Because when we're out booking, this is over our top. When we're out booking, we can't get booked, so we ain't getting no business. And so we spent the whole summer baseball beyond borders, and now finding Go, and you know what I'm saying. We ain't get no business because we was out there, and I was so discouraged. And I'm like, man, what have I done? And driving there to Raleigh Durham Airport with my head kind of down, being like, man, I gotta figure something out. And guess who was waiting there for us? It was our commitment. The plane. The plane was there in Raleigh. Me and Brady, we were like little kids there at Gate C7 in Raleigh Durham International Airport. We were there. We were like, the plane's here for us. It's a sign. You know what I'm saying? And we took the commitment back to Seattle, energized, and we're like, man, we're gonna finish this strong. And the next week, we flew out to Chicago, and me and Brady teed up, and my son Omi was out there, and man, this guy Ade was so phenomenal. And what I got out of this film is, especially before the protests and before everything else, man, my humanity and my sense of kindness and touch and care was like out of 10. And I'll be honest with you, what I went through in the last 2 years and always being on the defensive and everything else and all these attacks that come at us that most people have no idea, it's made me a real hardened person. And learning about Ade Hogue reminded me to go find my humanity again, to dig deeper in my humanity. You know what I'm saying? To remember who I am. It was just so inspiring. And so we were able to last week go down to UNC Charlotte, and you can put these up now, Curtis. And so we did the premiere. Look at that, reserved for Converge Media right there. And this was in the Roll building there at UNC Charlotte campus. And they did the premiere. And it was also an exhibit of Ade's art. And there we are in the exhibit right there. It was just amazing to be there to premiere this film with Ade's family, mom and dad, with and a lot of the people who we interviewed both in Asheville, Charlotte, and in Chicago. They all came down there for the premiere, and to premiere this film with Ade's family, his friends, professors, former students, and everything else. Man, it was a powerful experience. I'm so proud. Like, I'm so proud of this project. I'm so proud. Probably because, it's great that we were able to tell Ade's story, but the way that it changed all of us. Like, if you talk to Brady, Brady will tell you he came back changed. You talk to Takia will tell you, she'll tell you, like, this experience of learning about Ade Hogue changed all of us. Um, and one of the things is really dope moment that's in the film, right, is that um in talking to Alaska Airlines, I had a big shout out to Kaylee Olsen over at Alaska Airlines. We're like, Kaylee, what's gonna make this film magical is if we can get back in the original hangar and you have our commitment in the airplane hangar. So now as a regular person on the street, that's sounds like something simple. Yeah, just have the airplane there. My friend, it's not an easy task to pull one particular airplane off of a route and put it in the hangar and make it available to us, for a few hours. Now, I don't know what kind of magic that Kaylee has out there at Alaska Airlines, but sure enough, we were out there and we were able to interview Zenobia Hogue. You put up this other one here. We were able to interview Zenobia. That's Zenobia right there. That's Ade's sister. There in front of our commitment. And that's also Johnny Mack and Sarah Cobb. And there's Kaylee right there. And what an amazing experience that was as well, to be out there in the hangar at SeaTac, to be able to shoot part of this film. And so this was just an amazing learning lesson for us as a company. Like I said, we're so proud of this film. We're so proud of what we're able to accomplish. We really want everybody to see it. It's releasing on September 16th across all of our platforms. And big shout out to Alaska Airlines for like doing their part on a vision. Like I said, I was like, yo, if you move us around, we'll make it happen. And Alaska Airlines did that and more. And yeah, we're really proud of this work.
And this is exactly why I'm so grateful for today. And I was like, man, I need to check in with Omari, because Omari's been like, man, you don't know, man, wait till you see this, wait till you see that. And it's really the passion of what you bring to the crews, to the team here at Converge, to really push for that excellence in everything we do. But when you tell somebody's parents you want to uplift their story, I feel your passion coming through right now. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked me, like, I said, well, why'd you agree to do this? I said, because mama asked me to, and not in a direct, can you make a film? Mama just asked for help. And if my mama was asked somebody for help, I'd want them to help. And I'm just glad that even though, a lot of things have changed over the last few years, that I'm glad that we still are who we are. And I'm glad that we still in touch like that. And I'm glad that how we do anything is still how we do everything. And whether we got the money or nobody, that we show up. We show up. And now it's like we show up here in Seattle, we show up across the country, but we show up. We find a way out of no way to make it happen. And that's one of the best things about our company and who we are and our commitment. Yeah. So I didn't mean to get all emotional on your show, but like when I tell you that this story of Ade Hogue changed all of us, impacted all of us, it's real. I can't wait for you to see this film, you know what I'm saying, and an uplift. And once people do watch the film, man, go make a donation to the Ade Hogue Scholarship Fund. You know what I'm saying? It's for Black and brown kids down there attending UNC Charlotte that are studying in art.
Oh my goodness. Omari, thank you so much for bringing your full self all the time and for really dedicating Converge to being that media company that will always uplift these amazing stories and people. clearly all over the country. I mean, we've gone to different parts already of the world. This right here is what is such a driving force for us here at Converge. And I just thank you for giving me some of your time today and for sharing these amazing stories, the ways that Converge has been moving. Because, you know, people ask me all the time, well, what's Omari up to? What's Omari up to? I'm like, oh, man, he's busy.
If I could say this, Trae, is that sometimes you have to take a step back to take a step up. And, you know, I walked away, or we walked away. We retired the morning update show at its apex. I mean, we retired the morning update show on June 3rd. On June 4th, we won an Emmy.
Mm-hmm.
And no one could understand, like, why I walk away from the morning update show. And I hope that people start to see now that it's like, for me as a person and for us as a company to thrive in our higher purpose, then, you know, sometimes you got to take a step back to take a step up. And, you know, our purpose is to continue to tell the Black story, to uplift the Black story through as many, you know, mediums as possible, but especially through film. And, you know, just couldn't do that every day doing the news on the morning update show. And so now, you know, being able to kind of move and groove, people can only expect more and better things.
Oh, well, absolutely, and I concur with that. Oh, I mean, that's the beauty of witnessing it from my own purview. So, just thank you again for being here with me today, for sharing all the great work that's going on. You guys make sure you stay tuned with us at Converge Media so that you guys can see this amazing film Find and Go when it is released on September 16th. And also, you guys have an opportunity to be with us at T-Mobile Park on September 27th for the Reconciliation Tour. So this is an amazing way for y'all to experience the work we're doing. But we know that y'all appreciate these stories, and we want you guys to share in these stories with us. Come and enjoy all of the hard work that is poured in. Clearly, as he was saying, it is a labor of love. And on this day after Labor Day, I just wanted to give you guys a real in-depth look into how Converge is building and growing. And as he said, taking that step back to take that step up. Well, tomorrow I get to dive in with Brian Callanan. I'm excited because, you know, we did do a deep dive last week, and I'm looking to see what's going on now that things are opening up today with certain sessions in City Council. Brian will probably have some great updates for us. So for me, until tomorrow at 11 a.m., let's go wide. Yeah. Peace.